Hello, I am Len Lindsay at my ISS Vanguard. I'm going to talk about rolling dice. And you think that's boring, I know how to roll dice. The problem with rolling dice in my ISS Vanguard is that each section has their own dice and they can assist each other, but you want to make sure that they get their same dice back again. If they assist, all the dice are considered one roll pool. A lot of reviewers and videos combine the dice together on camera so that you can see that they're all one roll pool. But then if you do that, you got to get the same exact dice back to where they came from. So here's an example. For example, I put three people here. Usually there's two in the tutorial, but I put three for our example. We're going to have one person rolling. It's going to be the blue. This person's rolling the dice. It's their turn. And the purple and the rose, the recon and the science are going to help. You roll all the dice. And let's say that the blue was rolled, what would I like to have it rolled? An accident. Accidents are bad. And let's say I've got a wild dice he's going to roll because he has a good chance of getting a Vanguard symbol. And he over here, and Recon has another wild dice, so he's going to take that. So they're each going to roll a wild dice to see if they can get what's needed. And they both did good. But for example, let's say if they did terrible and they both rolled accidents. Now when we're comparing dice, if you start mixing them together, trying to see what you're going to do, like I have so many accidents, how am I going to do things? You'll use section cards, trying to change some of the accidents into wild or giving you a reroll. At the end, once you're done mixing these together, you have to make sure you get the dice back in the correct places, and his would be all in the spent pool when they're done. Now, when we're done, let's check if we got it right. I got it wrong. This is, remember, supposed to be a wild dice. It's a basic dice. Who got the wild dice? He got his wild dice back. And now, by magic, they swapped dice. And in this game, he would now have gotten a wild dice from him, and he would now have another basic dice, which is not good. You shouldn't be switching dice like that during the game. Okay, now let's switch over. I want to talk about Zoe, Stowaway on the ISS Vanguard. Okay, now we're talking about Zoe, the stowaway. She speaks Spanish and she's got a problem. I have a book of stories, and in the stories that I wrote, which I have nothing to do with the game, she has a problem. Most people are not speaking Spanish, and she's upset. She doesn't know what people are talking about. And this is the book I wrote for Awaken Realms. I just sent one to them, and they should be receiving it soon. So look at day 21 of my stories, because my countdown is going down from 30. And here we've got Zoe and Isabel. We talked about in a previous video. She's a resident genius. She made an instant translator hearing thing that you stick in your ear, and you set it for what language you'd like to hear for. So she wants Spanish, she'll hear Spanish, no matter what other language people are talking about. So she was very happy to have that. But now we're back at the game, and let's try again. This time we got a dice tower that has multiple sides, two sides. So now we've got the same setup. We're going to have blue security. It's their turn. And they're going to roll on half of the dice tower because it's a two-player dice tower. And once again, let's say that they got an accident with their blue dice, and then take the wild dice, which I put back where it belonged, and he rolled an accident there. And now this guy's going to help too, but he doesn't really have a place to roll to keep his dice separate, so he might just like roll it off to the side. And let's say that he rolled another accident. Now we do our comparisons again as usual. It was nice to keep this separate, but it's kind of hard to see that it's part of the roll because it's separated. Plus you can see this is getting crowded. A couple more dice and this is not going to work again. So this is a step up to keep the dice separated for assisting people, but it's not good in the long run. So next, let's take a look at another character from the stories that I wrote. Let's take a look at Cho. Okay, and the next day of the countdown, Cho was in this story. And the book of stories that made for Awaken Realms, if we look at day 20 for Cho, this story takes advantage of the back of her card, which said that she, what did it say? She's always hungry. So I in my story, she's a really good scout because she can find food. When she's hungry, she'll find the food. She's probably going to be what you want to put on a team that has her scouting things out. So she's going to be the scout. Now, the next dice tower I'm going to talk about doesn't even have a tower. It's just a tray. The advantage of this one you'll see as I go. Right now you're looking, each section has a little side tray. So the main person, let's say once again, because everything's back here, is going to roll their dice in the main tray. And there's the blue security. If I wanted to keep track of whose dice they are, I can just put this in. There's a magnet. It stays there. Now, Amir for science is going to help. So you can roll your dice into this little tray, which is not exciting as throwing it across the board, but he's going to help, and he's attaching his dice to the roll. Recon is also going to help, and we're going to do the same thing for Recon, and they're going to attach theirs to the roll. So now everyone that's playing the game can look at the dice. The dice are kept separate. Whose are assisting and whose are part of the main one. We know whose turn it is by this. And that keeps everything separated the way it should. When we're done, we give this one back, and he puts it back. We give this one back to science, and he puts his dice back here, and these dice are all spent here. This dice tray I'll have in the links below if you'd like to get one of your own. I think it works perfect for this game. It's even color coordinated with the colors for each section. I've been Len Lindsay, and I still am Len Lindsay. This is my ISS Vanguard looking at ISS Vanguard.